And just like that, Halloween is once again upon us. In celebration of the spooky season, we'll be sharing with you today some of the most haunted places around the world that you can't help but want to visit. As humans, we've always been drawn to the supernatural, so despite being haunted, people still want to visit these places. How many of these places are you familiar with? Keep on watching to find out more. The abandoned island of Poveglia in Venice, Italy. Starting today's list of most haunted places is the small and abandoned island of Poveglia in northern Italy. This small island was divided into two and was first inhabited by a small community in 421 who fled the barbaric invaders. When the bubonic plague broke out and wiped out most of the population, this small island became a quarantine colony and was made the place of exile for symptomatic citizens that served their death sentence. Records state that the sick and the dying were compiled at the town center and were burned alive on giant piers, and then also became the case when the Black Death came about in the city. For a short time, Napoleon's military campaign also settled into the small colony, and in the late 1800s, the small island became an asylum for the mentally ill. Like before, the place became a place of exile rather than a space for rehabilitation, and in the 1930s, rumors came about that several doctors started performing strange experiments on the patients, and eventually the doctor went mad, threw himself from the asylum's bell tower. Because of its dark history, the town has been plagued with ghost stories, and more than once, people tried to rehabilitate the asylum but haven't succeeded to this day, which made the locals believe that the hauntings drove them away. The scariest fort in India, Bangar Fort. Next, we have the scariest fort in India, which is the Bangar Fort, located in the district of Rajasthan. Even without going to the actual place, just seeing the pictures of this long abandoned fort gives off an eerie feeling that gives you goosebumps. The Bangar Fort was built by Raja Bangwat in 1573 AD for his son Madho Singh, who was succeeded by his son Chattar Singh. There are several stories about the place, but the most famous one tells the story of Chattar Singh's beautiful daughter named Ratnavati, whose alluring looks preceded her name. It wasn't long before tantric priests who practiced black magic fell in love with her, but knowing full well that she is a princess, he didn't stand a chance to cast a spell on her and created a magic potion in the form of perfume so she could fall in love with him. Ratnavati came to know of his intentions and threw the bottle away, that suddenly turned into a boulder that crushed the priest. Before he died, he cursed Ratnavati, her family, and everyone in the village to never be and condemned to desolation. The following year, a battle took place at the fort and wiped out everyone in the village who was doomed to haunt the place. The place was so haunted that the Archaeological Society of India warned tourists and other visitors not to enter the premises at sundown, since a lot of strange and eerie stories take place after dark at the fort. The Stanley Hotel, Estes Park in Colorado, USA. Up next, we have another popular haunted location that's also known for its world-renowned whiskey bar that attracts tourists yearly, the Stanley Hotel. A fun fact about this hotel is that this hotel inspired the creepy Overlook Hotel from Stephen King's hit novel The Shining. If you look past its haunted history, you can't help but admire the stunning Georgian architecture that's also a sight for sore eyes. Aside from tourists, staff, and even fellow visitors at the hotel have claimed they witnessed supernatural sightings within the buildings, which include the man who built the hotel, F.O. Stanley, as well as his wife, Flora Stanley. Several rooms in the hotel were hotspots to ghost activities. The most popular of these are ghost children whose guests were reported to play in the halls at night. Green Lady Ghost, Chateau de Brazique in France. Next, we have a castle in our entry, and it's none other than the haunted structure of the Chateau de Brazique, where the ghost of a green lady was said to be seen. The building became well known for Charlotte de Brazies, who was murdered in cold blood. She was the legitimate daughter of King Charles VII and was killed by her husband upon discovery that she was having an affair. Her spirit was said to continue to roam its halls and was dubbed as the Green Lady for the color of her dress. Have you heard of the island of Dolls in Mexico City, or ancient Ram Inn in Gloucestershire, the most haunted house in Britain? Don't go anywhere because we're diving into these now. La Recoleta Cemetery, Buenos Aires, Argentina. What would this list be if it didn't include a cemetery, and making an entry is none other than Argentina's La Recoleta Cemetery in Buenos Aires. You don't have to be religious or anything to marvel at the beautiful tombstones and statues present in this cemetery. If you look past the marvelous sculptures present in this cemetery, you'll find several grim stories that surround the place, such as the tale of David Aleno, who worked as the gravedigger and caretaker of the cemetery cemetery for 30 years. It was believed that Eleno took his life, and years after his death, his presence can still be felt within the cemetery grounds. Isla de las Muñecas, Mexico. Mexico also has an entry in today's list, which is the Isla de las Muñecas, or the Island of Dolls, in Mexico City. An island located south of the city, this popular tourist spot is home to hundreds of dolls scattered throughout the island, with several doll parts hanging from the trees and scattered among the grass. This uninhabited island was home to a man named Julian Santamaria, who found a dead girl's body in the nearby canal. Shortly after, hauntings within the island began, and as a way to ward off evil spirits, Santamaria displayed the dolls to ward off these spirits and appease the dead girl. Don't go anywhere, since the next few places we'll be sharing are popular filming sites. Al Jazeera Al Hamra, United Arab Emirates. Another popular ghost town that also served as a filming location for several films is the Jazeera Al Hamra in the United Arab Emirates. Before it was abandoned, this town was widely populated and ruled by the Zahab tribe. Aside from being a shooting location, people come from afar to marvel at the buildings made from coral stones held together by mud, with roofs woven with date palms. Winchester Mystery House, San Jose, California. To continue with the list, we have another haunted house that inspired a movie adaptation titled Winchester. The Winchester Mystery House in San Jose, California is another haunted tourist spot that's popular among travelers. It was owned by Sarah Winchester, a recluse heiress to a great fortune from the rifle magnate William Wirt Winchester. This fortune enabled her to build the expansive mansion that became home to numerous entities. What's more curious about this structure is that construction and renovation never stopped and have been going on throughout the 38 years of living in the gigantic home. It was said that the design was made peculiar to keep safe from vengeful spirits killed by her husband's rifles. To this day, the house offers a guided tour with its dizzying labyrinth floor plan and 160 rooms. The Langham Hotel, London, England. Another haunted hotel that made it on this list is England's Langham Hotel, who is also home to multiple otherworldly entities. This high-end hotel is not only popular for its world-class accommodations, but also for its supernatural guests, of which 5 of them have become regular guests. Built in 1865, it was once owned by BBC. Many hauntings have been witnessed by the broadcasting company's crew, and it's believed that room 333 was the most haunted of all the rooms. Said room is believed to house several ghosts, which include a German prince who committed suicide, a couple of which the doctor husband killed his wife first before taking his life, Emperor Napoleon III, a fluorescent ball of light that takes on a human form, and a man with a gaping wound who haunts the hallways. Despite all of these, guests still flock to book the room in the hopes of experiencing the supernatural. Ancient Ram Inn, Gloucestershire, England. Last but not least, we're also including what is known as the most haunted house in Britain, which is the ancient Ram Inn in Gloucestershire. Before the structure was built in 1145, records show that the area served as a site to a multi-millennia pagan burial line that lies on the Lee Lines, which are connected to the Stonehenge. Because of this connection, it was believed to be the cause of paranormal happenings documented at the estate. In the 1960s, a man named John Humphreys bought the inn intending to save it from being destroyed. Stories went around that on the first night of his stay, spirits and demonic forces made themselves present and dragged him across the room from his bed. The longer he stayed, the more he found evidence of ritual sacrifices and devil worship within its grounds, and even skeletal remains of children. Despite this, people still came flocking at the ancient Ram Inn, curious to know if the rumors were true. There's still a lot of haunted places we'd like to include in today's list, but unfortunately, we're out of time. Have you tried visiting any of these places listed today, or experienced paranormal activities in scary places? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to our channel before you go. Thanks for watching today's video. We'll catch you at the next one.